Hey everybody, Rob Cootie here. Just wanted to let you know Marie and I are here. We'll be going live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as always. Also, additionally, if you don't mind sharing this podcast and our social media platforms with our fellow network marketers all across the world, using hashtag the MLM Solution, hashtag the MLM Solution. We sure would appreciate it. We'll see you guys in a few short seconds. Just bear with us.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Hello, Miss Marie. How are you today?
Good morning, Rob. I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Had my surgery yesterday. Everything went great. I'm excited about what it's going to do for me. So I'll say that. I'm glad it's over with.
Well, we're glad to have you on the mend for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm tickled pink. I did not realize how much of a disruptive force that was going to be in my life. Man, I think of the poor kids, the younger kids that have this type of injury and other people, the elderly. Golly, how do you get around especially if you live on your own as an elder person? My gosh, now I see why there's such a need for those companies to help the elderly. That's just amazing, because your own home could be a danger zone to you if you're elderly and already got a broken bone of some type. Because the elderly don't have the strength to maintain their balance sometimes, and to fall while you already have a broken arm or leg or something would be a catastrophe, a disaster.
Yeah, you got to be careful, and sometimes you got to use like a cane or a walker or something to help stabilize yourself. I don't know why people always resist that. I always thought I'm waiting till the day I can start using a cane, because every once in a while it's like a good whap on somebody while you've got it there, right?
Exactly. Well, that's a good point. I had plantar fasciitis in my left leg, left foot, and tried to. And I'm telling you, when I was younger and people complain, I'm like, yeah, whatever, because I was in such great shape that I could not put myself. You'd think I'd have empathy for them and put myself in their place. And I wasn't mean. I just didn't get it. When I had that plantar fasciitis and I took the dogs, I used to take the dogs for a walk in the morning and the evening. Miss Marie, I couldn't finish the walk sometimes. The pain was so bad in my left foot, and it really hindered. Well, one of the remedies was surgery. But the doctor told me, the foot doctor, I forget what they're called, told me, he said, look, it only takes like 10 minutes. It's nothing. When this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. And it has a great success rate. That's all right, let's do it. So we did, and it did. Well, then my right one came along, and then I had a friend in Arizona told me, said, hey, the wife had that. And we went to Walmart, and they have this machine you step on, and it tells you what insert to put in that has the right arch. So I thought, okay, instead of surgery on the right foot, I'll do that. And that worked too. So the point being is that the surgery side of it, I recuperated pretty darn quick and never had another problem. So the good thing is it worked. And I never thought that I would ever have surgery again. And here I am. And never did I think that I would fall into the old people category.
Well, you know what, Rob? I always say old beats the alternative. So
yes, it does. Thank you for clarifying that. You're absolutely right. So, guys, with that being said, a little bit of life there. I hope you got a little bit of insight into what's going on in our lives. I am so sorry, Miss Marie, that you have the virus, and may God be with you and you have a speedy recovery. Please keep all of us posted, and including me. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, as long as I'm here on the podcast, all's good, right?
That's right. Well, we care about you as a person. The podcast is an added bonus, and that's okay. But hey, your health is the number one thing. Additionally, if we listen to these certain experts about the virus, they're going to tell me, you, Miss Marie, you need to wear a mask while you're on this podcast. I don't know if you've seen those people on Zoom and all that with masks. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like that virus is going to go through the microphone, travel all the way over here and get robbed.
Well, you never know. I mean, you've heard of a computer virus, haven't you?
Yeah, there it is. That's what it is.
You infect your machine, and then it gets the whole internet, and then you're in trouble. I don't know. Maybe there's something to it, but yeah, no. I think I'll just stay here without the mask on. I've been, quarantined, isolating, all that good stuff. So hopefully we'll be in good shape here, and we'll just get through it. But got to stay healthy, and I'm all about the prevention. So I've been taking a lot of vitamin C, vitamin D, drinking lots of liquids, trying to stay healthy, make sure I'm still doing my breathing, and
yeah,
I think I'm actually on the upswing. So
well, good. How long have you had it?
Probably almost a week.
Well, I would have never known.
Well, that's why I've been trying to just operate as normal. And there were a couple days that just doing the podcast really took it out of me. Energy.
Well, I could tell you wouldn't. Yeah, I could tell you weren't yourself, but I would have never thought that. I just thought, you had something else going on, and like most people, but kudos to you. Kudos to you. You were awesome. Great admiration at this end for your approach and the way you handled it. Do you know how you got it?
Exposure from a friend's sister. It was one of those things. It's just, it's a virus. I think for most people, it's a matter of when, not if. And absolutely for those who are elderly, immune compromised, those types of things, you don't want to get any type of virus. You don't want to get the flu. You don't want to get pneumonia, any of that, because it can be really bad for a lot of people. But for the most part, from what I've been hearing, most people's experiences, it's like a bad head cold, flu-ish type symptoms, and lasts about a week and you get over it. So hopefully I'm in that category and we don't have anything else go sideways here. But
I know, and it kills me. They talk about. I had somebody the other day, without dragging this on, saying, "Oh, there are 7 or 8 million people across the world that have the virus, and it's terrible, it's horrible, and X amount of people have died across the world." I said, let me ask you something. They said, what? And I said, if I'm correct, there's over 7 billion people on the earth, right? And they got real quiet. Yeah. I said, so you're telling me that 7 million people out of 7 billion, that we have a pandemic here, that we have a critical mass point in our society as a whole, in the human race? Well, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, we do have. I said, no, it's a virus. It's going to spread. You know what? There's over 7 billion. There's 7 billion people, well over 7 billion, that haven't got it. So don't give me that crap about 7 million people. That's sad, and that's okay. But if you look at the numbers, less than 1% are dying from it. So that tells you that out of the 7 million, 6.9 million people are doing okay. So there you go.
I think it's interesting because people who watch the numbers, like here in Utah, I think the death rate was like 0.06% or something like that. And statistically speaking, 1% of Utahns die every year. Yeah. So,
Well, there you go. Well, you and I are common sense people. We take a level-headed approach, and you know what? You're going to be fine. Our prayers will be with you. We'll be thinking of you. I certainly will. That's for sure. But based on what I'm seeing and hearing, if you've had it for a week, you are a real trooper, and you're right. It must be that you take so good care of yourself that it is having a minimal effect, and that's good. That's awesome. Also, I heard, I don't know how true it is, without dragging this on, we'll move on in a moment. I forgot which research it was. I do have it. I do bookmark these things. But they said that if you, in passing, get it from somebody and your exposure is this, then typically your symptoms are that. But if you're around somebody or your mask is tainted with it and you keep breathing it in time after time, over the next 3 hours, that your exposure is this. And so your symptoms are going to be that or more. So they're saying it's not just being exposed to it, it's the amount of time that you're exposed to that virus, where just more and more of it gets into your system. And maybe that's the case for you. Maybe you just got a small whiff of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I struggle with masks, is because I am not a doctor, medical professional by any means at all. But just my left brain logical self, if you have a virus in your system and your body's trying to fight it and shed that virus so you don't actually get ill, what are you doing? You're expelling that. Well, if you cover your face and you're trapping those virus particles and you're rebreathing them, especially when it's a respiratory virus, that just seems like the exact thing you don't want to do.
I agree.
So I have to tell you, if I avoid wearing a mask whenever I can.
Yep. Well, I went to the surgery yesterday and they made us wear a mask, and I don't have a saying. I wanted the surgery and I had to go in there, and I totally get it. Of course, I don't have the virus. They've proven that. I've had multiple tests, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the thing is that I understand the precautionary approach to that. But as soon as I walk out the doors, buddy, that mask is coming off, and I stay away from people. And I do believe in the social distancing. I do, because most of your viruses are spread with human-to-human contact, and some of them are a little more airborne than others. And I get that, whether it's this virus or, flu, whatever, I get it, and even before this, the wife and I, ever since we've been together, we go shopping. We're those type of people. Even before this virus came around, over the last 10 years, we wiped because one of the nastiest things out there in society is the handles of a shopping cart. And we always clean our hands, and we always clean the shopping cart, and because we didn't want the flu and we didn't want what other people had. And that's a great way to transmit it, So we always practice that stuff to begin with. So,
well, I thought it was amusing when this virus first came out that hand washing and general good hygiene was such a revelation for most people. Oh, come on.
I know. That kind of makes you worried.
When you're sick, stay home. Don't be around other people. It
there
doesn't
you
matter
go.
what it is. You don't want to get other people sick.
No, you do not. And on top of that, it makes me worry, Miss Marie, when I learned that other people, maybe I got to wash my hands. I mean, come on. So without getting too personal, I know that when I go to the bathroom as a man, not many men wash their hands after the bathroom. I do. That's all I'll say. All right. Enough of that stuff. Here we go. Today is 11:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time podcast. I have 59 there, Miss Marie, but it is actually podcast number 60. I need to change that.
Well, we've got to keep the count right. We don't want to confuse people.
No.
Wow, I can't believe we're on number 60 already. That's amazing.
No, it is. It is. So with that being said, guys, we are, for all of you on the podcast, we are podcast number 60. I just changed it. No, and you know what? I think I did not correct that. Well, anyway.
I think our title's not right either there.
Right.
We're still on Tuesday's topic.
That is totally my fault. I rarely do that.
We are all sorts of confused. We'll blame it on the pain medication you're on. How's
there
that?
We go. And the lack of focus. All right. Anyway, here we go. We're going to move on. Hey, if you will, please like and share our Facebook page and all of our social media platforms. We want to get this word out to our fellow network marketers all across the world, and you are the major impetus behind us spreading our word and our knowledge and our experience, so that they can also use this information to change their lives sooner rather than later. So please go to our various social media platforms. You can do that with the hashtag #TheMLMSolution, hashtag #TheMLMSolution, and that way everybody can access to our information, especially on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. All of our videos are there, and you guys can have access to just about anything. And if you do nothing more than learn what we're talking about in those videos, especially the core videos that make the business go, that are surrounding the 5 simple steps, guys, there's all the information you need to make this business go. Right, Miss Marie?
It is, absolutely. And the information you're getting here, you are not going to find anywhere else. So please
Mhm.
do give us a thumbs up if you like what you hear, you're understanding the points we're making. We appreciate that. And like Rob said, be sure to share this information. If you're finding it of value, be sure to share it, especially with your downline, because you want that duplication. You want that
Mhm.
valuable information to permeate throughout your organization and help
Yes,
build towards your success, your dreams, and your goals.
that's right. And that's exactly what we want to do, is be able to help everybody out, regardless of where you are in the world. If you're accessing the wonderful business model of network marketing, guess what? It's going to work the same in Israel as it does in the United States. So it does not change. And we want to make sure that you get that access to that information. With that being said, Miss Marie, I just corrected our title. And there we go. Now I got it right, guys. Boy, that daggone producer. All right. Podcast number 60, the backbone of your business. What is it? I think some of you already know, and today's subject matter is going to be about effective communication. We're not just talking about communication like Miss Marie and I are doing right now. It's in reference to effective communication with the right people in your business. Okay. And there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. We're going to use a number of examples to prove our points here. You don't want to miss that. Additionally, we'll kind of touch in on the Richard Call thing. He's always our barometer, our baseline, if you will, in regards to building a business. And we'll talk about how Richard communicated with his leaders. But we'll also talk about the other ways you communicate with your leaders and your growing leaders. There is definitely a difference when it comes to communication with your business as it continues to grow. And we're going to touch on all those. Once again, you're not going to learn this information anyplace else. Miss Marie, you have anything to add to that before we get started?
Nope, I am ready to dive into this. This is a very important topic. And of course, communication's always important because it's not only the message that you're delivering to people, whether it's the prospect, your business leaders, other people in your organization, you want to make sure that they're hearing what you're saying, meaning you want to make sure the message you're delivering is what's actually being received.
Yes, exactly. Because you're going to have moments where, make sure I do. Yeah, there we go. I don't know what's going on here. There's some weird things happening. Anyway, the point is that she's right. You got to have the communication channels open to a certain group of your people in order for your business to continue to grow. And that communication has to be positive, guys. It has to be uplifting and positive. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to deal with your leaders much differently than you're going to deal with other people. And the messaging is not only with people that you're working with to build the business during the business building process, but also during the recruiting process. That communication is absolutely essential in order for you to go somewhere in this business. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. But always, we start our show with, there it is, our famous gong. Okay, that's the official start of our show and the subject matter. Once again, for all you on the podcast, number 60, podcast 60, the backbone of your business. What is it? And it is effective communication. And you're saying, Rob, why is communication the backbone of our business? It seems like it would be something else, a business building practice, tactic, or method. And the answer to that is no, because this is a relationship business. Of all the things that we teach you guys, and none of it touches on the most important thing, which is effective communication. Okay. And the thing is that you're not going to make everybody happy all the time. You may have some of your downline leaders who get upset at you for whatever reason and leave, whether it's because of lack of communication, lack of effective communication. There is a difference. You can communicate with people without being effective. And we're going to talk about that, about effective communication. But the bottom line is, guys, you have to be able to do, if you're doing the right things, you're saying the right things, performing the right steps, then if they decide to leave, it is no skin off your neck. Do not worry about it. Do not get down and out. We'll talk about one of those moments here in a little bit. But we got to set the premise for the show and the fact that there are different ways to communicate with different types of people that are in your business at that moment. And Miss Marie, you always want to love and leave them. I mean, that's the bottom line. And even if things don't go your way, if somebody contacts you and says, Rob, I'm leaving next week, next Monday, I'm going to join so-and-so company and 80% of my downline's going with me. I'm going to love them and leave them. I'm going to ask them why. Hey, was it anything you did? Because I want to get better. If there was something that I did, something I said, then I would like to know about it. I may not agree with it, and it may be wrong. Okay. But the thing is, it never hurts to get feedback to see what is the reason. It could be that the company, could be the other person and that person was offered, $100,000 to leave my organization to go to a new company. Well, you can't blame them for that. They're here to make money. It's their business. So there's a lot of different ways to communicate, but as long as you always do what we tell you, love them and leave them. If you do that, you're miles ahead of all your peers and your competitors. Okay. And it's going to help stabilize your business when you love and leave them. And but you got to be firm too. Love and leave them doesn't mean you're a wimp, doesn't mean you're backing down, doesn't mean that you're afraid of confrontation. What it means is that you're acknowledging their decision. It's their business, and you're going to be professional about it, and you're going to be in supportive of their decision, regardless of how it affects your business. Okay, you're not going to trash talk them, because if you start that, your other leaders are going to hear that, and they're going to say, you know what, that's really not a good way to handle the situation. That's a different side of Rob I never saw before, and that really kind of concerns me. So you don't want to have that, okay? If the rumors are going to start, you want that rumor to be, hey, Rob really, he patted him on the back and said, great job while you're here. I hate to see you go, but I support your decision, because I understand it's your business and you have bigger goals in mind, okay? And you got to realize, guys, just because you like the business, the company you're with right now, okay, because you feel it's the best financial opportunity for you at this moment, doesn't mean that your downline leaders agree with that. Okay, they may be leaving purely for decision, purely on business reasons. Okay, they may feel that the company offers them a better financial opportunity, and how can you knock them for that, Miss Marie?
Well, exactly. It's one of those where you don't want to burn your bridges. You always want to maintain good relationships, especially with the people who have been strong leaders in your organization, because there is always the possibility that they're going off to explore an opportunity on their own that may or may not work out to their benefit. They may be in a situation where it's better for them to come back and rejoin you. If you've burned that bridge, that's not even a possibility.
Right.
Or at some point down the road, again, remember, we're talking about working with relatively volatile companies, and they're just getting started phases. So there's a very good possibility at some point down the road, it may be 3 years from now, 5, maybe 10 years from now, that you'll have an opportunity to work with that individual again. And you don't want to ruin that relationship over a choice that they're making to kind of go off on their own.
Yeah, exactly. And, there again, you got to keep in mind, guys, these things are going to happen. There's no doubt about it. If you're going to be in this business long term, if you're going to build a large, successful business, these things are going to happen. What she just said is imperative to your success, because they could, in fact, come back. That is not unusual. Okay, so you need to know. What a lot of people don't understand, Miss Marie, is that sometimes Miss Marie and Rob as a leader has as much to do with their success as it doesn't. And then when they get their own business on a roll, they think, no, I've how would you say, I've grown away from their dependence. I'm now on my own. I really don't need Marie or Rob. Okay. And then they go to another company and realize, oh crap, you know what? Maybe I needed them, their guidance, their support, and their help more than I realized. This is not easy as I thought on your own. And so you're right. It does happen. Okay. And I'll be honest with you guys, it takes a strong individual to build a successful business. Okay. It does. And it's just the bottom line. Like I tell you guys all the time, this is one of the most challenging things you'll do in your life. It's simple. It's going to take hard work, but it's also going to be a challenge. And then what you have to do is prepare yourself emotionally and mentally to overcome those challenges. And that's what it boils down to, Miss Marie, just having that refusal to quit mentality, regardless of what you go through. And we'll touch on the Richard Call scenarios here in a moment. But the bottom line is that's the way you make it in this business, not just the hard work. And one of the most important things that a lot of people don't talk about, which Ms. Marie and I have been focusing on recently, is the mental toughness, the mental mindset you must have. And we're not necessarily self-help gurus, but we're not anti-self-help. because we understand the mental hardness that you have to overcome anything in your life. Miss Marie's going through what she's going through. I'm going through to what I'm going through. And many people have had what her and I are going through at the point. But the thing is it hasn't derailed us from doing our daily activities, although both of us have an excuse as to why not to do this. Okay. Now, we don't use that as a teaching moment for you in these situations. What we're saying is our mindset. This is who we are. Okay. That's what it's not about the issues we're going through. It's that, hey, this is who I am. I'm a tough person. I'm going to fight through this, and it is what it is. And I'm not going to let it derail me. I'm going to keep moving forward. But that's the mentality that you have to have. And if you don't, you're going to have the emotional roller coaster. That's the reason why we talk about you got to be mentally tough and emotionally tough, because when you get down and out, your mind starts playing all these games. What if this happened? What if that happened? Or what if they said this? What if they said that? And you start doing that to yourself. It causes your emotions to do this daggone up and down, this peak and valley process, which will wear you out. Okay. And take your focus off of what you need to do. And so, Miss Marie, the simplest answer, which we talked about the other day, and when you run into these situations, it's not like you have to sit down and say, you can, but you don't have to say, oh, daggone it, I got to get mentally tough. Daggone it, I got to stop this emotional roller coaster. What you do, if you just stick with the 5 simple steps and keep moving forward, your focus will not be on the issues you're facing. It'll be focused on what? Those 5 simple steps. What do I do next? What do I do here? Okay, I signed this person up. I got to start working with them. That mentality, that process will help you keep those peaks and valleys more level instead of doing this all the time. Okay. And it'll also kind of block out, because your mind can only do one thing. You can only focus on one thing at a time. I think all of us, like I'm sitting here talking, I'm also thinking about what I got to do when I get done with the podcast at the same time, but I'm focused on the podcast. And I think a lot of people might be like that. So when you're doing the process, it takes your eyes and your mind off of your issues and focuses on what? The business building process. And Miss Marie, there's a lot to be said for doing it that way.
Absolutely. It all goes back to the fundamentals, right? Those 5 simple steps that we talk about. It's just doing the basic things, one foot in front of the other. So let's bring our focus back around to the effective communication aspect of it.
I was thinking the same thing. But we had to set up the premise there, emotional roller coaster and the mental mindset, because that's how you get effective communication with your downline.
On the roller coaster?
No. When you're focused, when you have the proper mindset and the proper emotional, how would you say, you have grasp and understanding of your emotional peaks and valleys, I think that you can address those things more effectively if you just ignore them. And the point is, if you stay focused on the 5 simple steps, you are acknowledging that there's some emotion. Who wouldn't get upset if somebody left? I mean, that's normal. That's human being. But anyway, that's the point I was making. But she's right. We need to get into how she was thinking. She said what I was thinking right there. We need to get on this subject matter. But we needed to set up the foundational process, because you can't have effective communication if you're on this roller coaster ride. Okay. And if your mind's not focused on the 5 simple steps, it's hard to have that effective communication. That's the reason why I set that foundation of the show up right then and there. So with that being said, look, you're going to have a different conversation with your leaders than you are, your first third, and then you're going to have a different conversation with your second third, and then you're going to have a third conversation with your prospects. It's all different, okay? And you also have a different conversation with your customers, but we'll just focus on the business builders at the moment. If you have true leaders that are doing some really good things, we talked about this and touched on it lightly before, and I'll do the same here, because really, as long as you understand these few important ways of dealing with your leaders that are growing, and these are people that are taking the same massive action you are. These are the people that are moving aggressively through the business building system, and they're staying the course. Those are the people you want, and you'll have 3 or 4 of those, and then you'll get more on as time goes along. But here's the thing. Those people don't want to be bothered, okay? If they got everything under control, and if you sponsor a really high-quality person, and it doesn't always end up being that way. We told you before that sometimes the 4s and 5s on that scale of ambition will come up and surprise you. You don't ever discount anybody, but your vast majority of your performers are going to come from people that are 5 and above. You'll see that play out. So the thing is that when you're dealing with these people who get it, I sponsor Marie and she listens. She says, Rob, I'm right there with you. That's my same philosophy. I get the 5 simple steps. I see why you're using it. I don't have a problem with that. I'll do it too. Okay. And she takes and rocks with it because she already has the experience where she sees that these are part of the fundamental processes that need to take place. So she don't have a problem with doing the 5 simple steps. She's like, okay, that's cool. And so she takes off and man, she starts rocking it. But when I sign her up, I'll say, Marie, do you want me to contact you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to follow up, see how you're doing, see if you have any questions? No, Rob, I'd rather you just do it one time a week. What day do you want to do that? She lets me know what time you want to do that. What do you, okay, I'll do that. Do you want text? Do you want email? Do you want to do a video call? What is it you want to do? Okay, I'm letting her control her counseling, if you want to use that term, schedule. Okay, why? Because she's the type of person, she's like, look, I know what I'm doing. I'm an adult. I'm responsible. I don't need you checking over. And that's really what you're doing. You're looking over the shoulder. And they don't like that. Top performers don't like that. They're like, look, if I got a problem, I'll contact you. Well, see, you're having effective communication here. Setting up that schedule, asking her, this is effective communication. I'm not taking control of the situation. Once I sign her up and I know that she's a 7 or 8 and possibly a borderline 9, which is a high achiever in this industry, guess what? I know inherently right away that I don't need to be looking over her shoulder. Okay. And so what I'm having effective communication by asking questions, not dictating, asking questions. How does she want to work together? Okay. And once she clarifies that, then I'll say, okay, I'll stick with that until you tell me otherwise. And don't ever hesitate to get a hold of me if you find that I won't. I'll contact you. Trust me. If I have any questions or run any issues that I don't think I can handle, I'll do it. This is all effective communications with what? My leaders. I don't want to push them away where they feel like, working with Rob's a real pain in the butt. He's a dictator. He's always on my butt. This is too much. And it takes away from the success that she's having because she has to deal with me. And to be honest with you, there'll come a point where she'll stop answering my calls and stop answering my emails. She'll be like, daggone, this guy's driving me crazy. Would you not agree, Miss Marie?
I do. And a key part of that, having effective communication with your leaders, especially when you're talking the one-on-one communication, is determining what their preferred method of communication is. Yeah. You are going to have some people that are really going to appreciate a video call so they can actually have eyes on you, especially because your business is going to be broad, right? It's pretty rare that your business builders, your top leaders are going to be in your local area. You're not going to be able to meet with them personally face to face unless you're meeting together at some sort of event that's going on that you're both at. So sometimes that video communication is the way to go. Then you have other people, especially I find the younger generation coming up, they really appreciate more text communication.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're almost opposed to even talking on the phone at all.
I know.
That's going to be for the rare things where it's just, there's too much information to convey. You can't really fit it into a text. But for the quick check-ins, just making sure everything's going according to plan, maybe feeling out if there is a potential issue that needs to be addressed in a different way that requires an actual conversation or, again, maybe a video call. Oftentimes a quick text can handle it, or even just email communication, because that way people have the ability, you can reach out to them when it's convenient for you. They may not be in a position to respond right away, and that way they can respond when they can. So determining each individual's preferred method of communication lends itself very much towards having effective communication with them.
Yes, good points. Wonderful. And you know what, Miss Maria, one thing we have not touched on, which is a fallacy on our part, and that is, talking to people overseas. If they're speaking the Jewish language, I know there's different dialects there, and whatever part of Israel you talk to, or wherever the Jewish people are living, they have different dialects like most countries. And you say, well, Rob, how do you carry on a conversation with somebody like that? Someone that's in Asia, it's the same thing, Miss Marie. And you say, Rob, how do you effectively communicate with those people? Well, I use Google Translator. That's what I've used. And I deal with people who build things for me. You can go to Fiverr and rent a coder or something like that. And some of those people are in other countries, and some of them speak English rather well, and some don't. And so I use a Google Translator. They say, well, do you speak, I don't speak good English. And I say, that's not a problem. I'll use Google Translator. Please write in your native language, and I'll just copy and paste it, and bam. Now, some of these Zoom meeting, some of these video conferencing software have, I don't know if you know this, built in a translator. So why do I tell you that? Because this is effective communication. Once again, if you're building a business in today's virus environment or whatever, and you're working from home, and your preferred method, even if it's a local person, is not to meet them in person, but to do a Zoom meeting. Well, guess what? If they are struggling with English and it's not their first language, make them feel comfortable and say, hey, that's okay. Let's, and you need to test it before you make that appointment, but use the Google Translator. Just tell them I'll copy and paste whatever you're saying. Just bear with me a bit, and let me read it, what it is you said, and then I'll respond. And that language barrier should not be an issue. And here's the thing, you're still doing effective communication, not just by the process, but you got to talk the same way as Miss Marie said. If this person ends up being one of your leaders, because most Asian people and most people from Israel are very aggressive in the network marketing business model. And so you will be able to have that same strong leadership communication with these people, regardless of whether they're in the US or if they're in their native country. So I wanted to bring that up, Miss Marie, about the Google Translator, because it's a very powerful tool.
Oh, yeah. And it's one of the aspects of technology that we get to leverage today to build our business, especially internationally, that makes this an exciting time to be building. Like when you and I were in the thick of it back in the day, that's not an option. If you had somebody whose English was really poor, you were struggling to make those connections and make sure that the points you're making are getting across to them. Because I don't know about you, but I often found I had to dial back my vocabulary quite a bit and speak at more of like a third or fourth grade level to make sure my communication is clear to the person on the other end, because English is not their first language.
That's right. And it was overwhelming to them.
Yep.
They were too ashamed to embarrass you by saying, no, I don't understand. Sometimes they would, but most times they would just let it go right through. And you're right, I did have to slow down. As I can be a fast talker, and I did have to slow down. And I would ask them, does that make sense? Do you understand? But also, Miss Marie, being in the military, we had people from all walks of life. And more times than not, if I knew I was talking to somebody in a certain country, I would look around or put in the base newspaper, hey, I need a translator for so-and-so country. And it worked out more times than not, but there were times where I had to hire somebody to be the translator for me. And so the bottom line is that, like you said, today it's a wonderful environment with technology. There should be no excuse that you guys can't have effective communication with your leaders who are from other countries. Because if you work the right company and it's expanding to other countries, and you need to get ahead of that expansion, if they tell you that, hey, we're going in December 1st, we're going into Israel, you should now be contacting people in Israel. And there's sites you can go to, and you can put biz op opportunities in Israel, okay? Business sites for Israel, whatever. And you can go to those message boards saying, hey, I'm with company so-and-so, we're expanding into Israel. Would love to talk to somebody to see if they want to be on the ground floor of this expansion, and provide a link to the company and say, hey, I'd like to talk in person. And I would be as honest and open as I can be. Okay. And to be honest with you, Miss Marie, if I was doing that message board thing to expand into Israel, because it's, unless you have a list, and you can buy a list, okay, doesn't mean they're accurate. They're going to be expensive. Those guys that sell lists, that's how they make their living, and it's not cheap. I've done it. And if you get a cheap one, it's because the effectiveness of that list is gone. Okay. In other words, the numbers have changed, the emails have changed, everything. Or it could be bogus. It could be old information. So if you think you're going to pay pennies on the dollar and get a top-notch list, you're fooling yourself. those lists are expensive. Okay. Are they worth it? Yeah, they can be, because if you get somebody, even one person off that list that runs with it, you're gold. Okay. But here's the thing. If I was on that message board, Miss Marie, I would do the music to the ears message right there. I'd say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I'm looking for. If you're that type of person, we need to talk, because this company's in phase 1 growth, and that's where 70% of the wealth is created. And I'm all about making money. I'm all about the lifestyle. I've been doing this for a long time. I have the system. I'm looking for somebody who wants to be on the ground floor of opening up this company in Israel. That would be my message on that message board. And it lives for infamy on the message board, unless somebody deletes it outside of me, like a moderator or whatever. But if you're on a BizOps site, I doubt if that's going to be the case at all. So there's another way to effectively build your business with effective messaging. Okay. And so you should not allow the fact that somebody is not in your country and is not speaking English to deter you from expanding your business overseas. So that's another, and that's during the prospecting process, which we brought up as we started this podcast. And we wanted to make sure you have effective communication during the recruiting process, as well as the leadership process takes place. And Miss Marie, for the U.S., I mean, the effective message is the music to the ears message. You gotta master that. You gotta own it. It's gotta flow off of your lips. You gotta say it with confidence, whether you're on video or not. When I sit here and do it, obviously you guys can say, well, he makes it look so easy, but it's because I've done it so many times. And the thing is, that message has to be owned by you. And when you own it and you're not second guessing yourself as you're saying it, your posture changes. Your confidence comes through, and that's what you want. That is highly effective information when your body language is backing up what you're saying. Right, Miss Marie?
Absolutely. And you hit exactly on the point I wanted to make sure everyone catches, that in the recruiting process, the key piece of effective communication is getting that music to the ears message down. And that's one of those tools that you're not going to find anywhere else providing, that we do. So
that's right. And you want to use that music to the ears message as quickly as you can, because guys, like anything else, it's going to become old hat. Okay. It will eventually lose its effectiveness. I really don't know to what level. And here's what I'm saying. It'll never stop being effective. But when you have 30,000 people in the network marketing industry using the music to the ears message, guess what? Like anything else, it starts to get gray around the corners. It's not as sharp and clear and revolutionary and edgy as it was when it first started out. Okay, where people are hearing this fresh new message of, hey, I've never heard this before. I've been around other network marketers and I've never heard this message before. Why didn't other people say this? And so they're not offended. They're intrigued. Okay, there's a lot going on for you guys using this message. Okay, people like fresh new things. People like where they see growth taking place. If you go up and say, hey, are you keeping your options open? Are you looking for an opportunity? Hey, our product. As soon as people hear that, they know it's network marketing. They more times than not shut down. No, I don't want to hear this. No, I've been down that road before. Guys, we're not tiptoeing around network marketing. We're not ashamed of it. We're advocates. Okay, her and I would put it on our foreheads if we could. The bottom line is, you have to have a message that tells the truth and resonates with people on what they are looking for. And that's what the music to the ears message does. It's exactly that. And you got to master it and own it so that you can use it now and be miles ahead of your people. Think about the people you're going to sponsor with a message like this. Think of the people that you're going to attract to yourself with a message like this, especially when you speak it confidently and your posture is good. Man, that is going to attract really high quality people to you, because they can see you're going somewhere. And they're like, I've never heard this message before. Why didn't other people tell me this about the lifestyle and this and that, and about the money, the 70% growth? Wealth creation in the phase 1 company. Nobody's ever told me this stuff before. This makes perfect sense. This may be exactly what I'm looking for. That is effective communication during the prospecting process. Did I do a good enough job clarifying that, Ms. Marie?
Yeah, I think you absolutely did. As a matter of fact, I wanted to start transitioning over to effective communication with leaders, because you kind of gave us a little teaser earlier on. You mentioned Mr. Richard Call, who of course, kind of set the bar in the industry. So would love to hear more about those stories that you've got.
Okay, well, we'll start that now. And don't let me forget about your intermediary leaders that are going from part-time to full-time, because those are really important too. But the Richard Call thing, as you know, Richard Call represents the extreme example of effective communication. He was very to the point, did not have any patience whatsoever for any bull crap. If you were going to be the type of person that was going to call and cry on his shoulder, it was not going to happen. He believed in strong leadership. He knew that speed and urgency was absolutely critical to his success. He knew that his people were going to duplicate what he did, and they may not use the same messaging or the same approach, but he understood that he had to set the example and that speed and urgency in this business was critical. So he was working his tail end off, going from one call to the other, and he did not have time to take calls from his downline who were sucking their thumbs and had hurt feelings. That's not how he was going to build his business. And he would essentially tell them, quit your complaining, get your ass out there and get it done. You know what to do, make it happen. Okay. And that's what they did. That's the reason why he has, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but Richard Call, and you can check, had the greatest collection of network marketing leaders ever assembled in his organization. And that's saying something, but that's how massive his organization was. And a lot of those leaders ended up writing books and being leaders, the great teachers of the system that they used. Tim Sales, an example, the Sexsmiths, I could go on and on and on, had great success in so many areas of network marketing. They were wonderful leaders, okay? And leaders expand beyond just a network marketing business model. In other words, they invest their money, their talents, their abilities, and other things that support the network marketing business model. But all of those people came out of Richard Call's organization through his activity. He was not going to change. Now, is that the only way to deal with leaders effectively? No. As we just stated a moment ago, Miss Marie ends up coming in and she's an 8 or a 9 on my scale of ambition. She joins. She says, Rob, I know what I'm doing. We went over this a moment ago. We set up, I asked her the questions about when she want me to follow up. She gives me all the information. We're good to go. So if we're talking down the line, we meet at an event, we do whatever, I do not in any way, shape, or form, I keep that effective communication going this way, because I have not heard from her. When I meet her at an event, I'm giving her a big hug and saying how great she's doing. And I just ask her, is there anything I can do to help? You seem like you're on a roll. Her answer is, no, I'm doing good. Thank you for offering. And you let it go. Now, that's effective leadership and effective messaging in a live event where we're right next to each other, okay? That same mentality carries over to Zoom meetings as we go away from that live event and go about our ways. She in Utah, me in Kentucky. I continue to support her by what? Calling her every Friday, like she requested, until she says, Rob, call her every other Friday. We don't need to do that, okay? The words that I choose have got to be supportive and positive. Okay. If I see something and I log in my back office and I see something going on in her business that maybe she has not realized, I'm not going to call her and say, hey, I don't know if you got something going on in your business over here, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to say, hey, Ms. Marie, I just wanted to follow up. And I noticed that when I logged in, there's a boo-boo happening over here. I didn't know if you knew that, but I just wanted you to make aware of it. If you're already aware of it, please forgive my intrusion. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of it. And she might be grateful for that. Or she might say, hey, I saw that too, and I was getting ready to take care of it. And she might even say, well, what do you think I ought to do in this situation? You know, but I was positive when I contacted her and uplifting. Why? What I was doing was giving her credit for the success she has in my statement and recognizing her leadership abilities as well as her activity. Okay. And that's what I wanted to do. And at the same time, I was addressing in a very polite way a potential issue in her business. And I wanted to see if she was aware of it. That was the whole reason I contacted her, not because I wanted to fix it for her. Okay. What is this? It's another example of proper communication, loving her and leaving her for what she's accomplished and leaving her in a good frame of mind with my positive words so that she knows that I'm behind her and I'm supporting her, not checking up on her and saying, why didn't you fix this? Which gives a totally different message. And her hanging up the phone is like, I'm a little bit insulted because I saw that too. He didn't have to say that, or he didn't have to act that way. That's not what you want to do. You've got to have positive, uplifting communication. You got to be careful with the words you choose. If you're going to write that email, if you're going to send that text, please write it, read it, hold off on sending it until you have either somebody else look at it. If you don't have anybody to look at it, read it yourself 2 or 3 times. Say, is that the type of message I want to get from my leadership? Okay. You do not want to be in a hurry and say, well, I'll hurry up and do it and send it. You could make a big mistake. And as everybody knows, you can never take a text back. You can't take words back. You can't backpedal, because Marie's going to be, no, that's what you said. I don't care. You know, now you're trying to cover yourself. No, that's what you said. That's what you meant. Even if she doesn't verbalize that, that's what she's thinking. Please make sure before you hit that send button that you read and ask for input. Is this positive or is this negative? What is the connotation that this message puts out? Right, Miss Marie?
Well, and I think that communication, especially with your top leaders, you always want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You're going to err to the side that they're already aware of it. They know what's going on. They're professionals. They're in control and in charge of their business, and you are just there to support.
Yes.
You don't want to come in too heavy-handed, because that can be insulting, misinterpreted, whatever it may be. But I think that's really the point you're making there, Rob, is that, you know, you're acting as that support. You're just making sure that the awareness is there, not that something sneaks up and catches them by surprise, because it can happen, of course. And if your leaders are in a situation where you're bringing something to their attention, they're already aware of it. It's like, yeah, thanks so much for pointing that out. I realize it's there. Or they may say, oh, hey, you know what? Good catch. I hadn't noticed that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention so I can address it.
There you go. Yep. And guys, part of the effective communication, especially with your leaders, is listening. This is not a one-sided affair where Rob dictates and follow. I listen. Okay. If Miss Marie does say, yeah, I do have a few questions, I listen. Okay. And sometimes I'll ask probing questions to clarify the points that she might be making. Okay. I let her control the process. And that is a compliment to her in the beginning. Look, people love talking about themselves. That's just the way we are. Okay. And I don't mean brag. I mean, people like to talk about, hey, this is what's going on in my life and blah, 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 because they want to feel as important as anybody else. And they want to know that other people who care about what's going on in their lives. So how do you do that? By shutting your mouth and listening. Okay. And if you don't truly understand everything that they said, or you want to make sure that you're on the same page as them, asking a follow-up question is powerful. Asking questions is powerful. But in order to ask questions, you have to know what to ask. And in order to know what to ask, you have to what? Listen. So listening is a big part of effective communication. If Miss Marie is having an issue, and she said, well, yeah, I'd like to talk to you about, and the key word is, I would like to talk to you. Okay. That means she's controlling the environment. So she would say, yeah, I'd like to talk to you about this particular issue I'm having. I really don't know what to do here. I have a couple of options. I say, okay, well, go ahead. Ask me what it is. And then she gives me the problem, and I'll say, well, are you saying, and I'll ask her a question. Are you saying this? And I want her feedback. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Okay. Here's what I would do. This is what I did in the past. This is what happened. Maybe that'll work here as well. Now, there's another way you can go about it, and this is what you can do as well. And then I shut up and listen, because that is the other part of effective communication, especially with leaders. Now you have a professional level communication going on between the two of you. You both are peers. Okay. Just because she's below you in the structure of the network marketing genealogy doesn't mean that you're better than her or that you're above her. She could pass you by. She could have more talent and ability in her pinky than you have in your whole body and is passing you by. She is your peer. Okay. So don't talk to her like she's not. Have that effective communication. And part of that is listening to what she is saying. And she will, I'm going to tell you guys, this part of the business building process will stabilize your business. You say, well, how is that? Because look, when you treat other people with dignity and respect, and you respect their accomplishments and the way they went about it, and you communicate that to them without being overbearing about it. You know, every time you see them, oh man, you're doing a great job. Oh man, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Sooner or later, that loses its message. It loses the meaning. Okay. Once or twice is great. There's nothing wrong with edifying somebody. But even people that get edified get tired of the bragging aspect of it after a while. So the bottom line is you just want to make sure that you have a great relationship and they know that you do respect what they've done and them as a person. And this will solidify your business. Why? Because Miss Marie has been in the business before. She knows a good thing when she sees it. She has a system that's working. She's with the right company. It's producing the income that she wants. Okay. And she's working with somebody that she enjoys working with, that respects her. Okay. And shows that respect by the way I communicate with her. And she says, I can't get this anyplace else. Because when it all boils down to it, Miss Marie, you can be successful in another business, but the people that you work with could be the biggest pain in the butt that you've ever been around. They're not very, when you do contact them, they're short and to the point. They're not very supportive. You have to call 3 or 4 times before you can get a hold of them. You know the scenario, you've been there. So I would say that in order to, you will solidify your business. Miss Marie will be dedicated to you, not as Rob, but dedicated to the whole thing that you bring to the table, because she's been around before. Would you not agree?
Yes, and I think that's a great overview of effective communication with your obvious leaders. What about what I consider kind of those transitional leaders, people who come into the business, they start growing, and then they really kind of, catch fire. They really get into the system and they start growing. They're becoming a leader. What are the keys for effective communication with them, do you feel?
Well, this is a little bit touchier and trickier, because a lot of times you have people going from part-time to full-time. Basically, the system is working for them. The business is starting to capture a little bit of traction. They're starting to get up in the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month category, which puts a lot of people in a category that they may have to seriously consider leaving their job someday, because their networking income is getting close to what their household income is. And so it makes people nervous, Miss Marie. And the communication with these people is a lot different, because they understand enough that Rob wants them to go full time, because that means more money for Rob and more leaders. They get that. Okay. And they don't want to be coerced into that. They're taking baby steps, and they're scared of the future. They've always had a job. It represents security to them, especially their spouse. And that is a tough decision that they're going to have to make with their spouse. And they don't know how they're going to put that to the spouse. Right. So they're really intimidated by the thought of going to the next level. And matter of fact, you'll have some leaders, guys, which we'll talk about in a future episode, where they are afraid to go forward. They're afraid of success. And it's number one, they've never made that kind of money. They can't believe they can make that kind of money, even though they're having success now. Think about it. If they're making $3,000 to $5,000 a month now in their job, they're used to that. If they make $3,000 to $5,000 a month in their network marketing business, they're comfortable with that. Why? Because that's exactly what they're making now. Okay. But when you say, well, hey, let's scale this thing up and take it to 10,000. Oh man, I've never done that. I don't think the wife would really appreciate that. That means more time, more effort. That means I have to make a decision. I can't do the job and go to that level too. And there's a lot of things that scare them, Miss Marie. And we'll talk about that in a future episode. So the communication with these people is totally different. You got to be the love and leave them thing, but at the same time, you got to be kind of strong, and you got to learn how to instill confidence in them without pushing them away, that, yeah, you can do this. And it can be it can be the sole income instead of the supplemental income in your household. Okay. And you use yourself as an example, whatever. But the communication here is a lot different. It's a lot more supportive, Miss Marie, a lot more. Here's the path. You kind of focus in, you do it in a nice way. You do it in a polite way. You don't drag them. You don't threaten them. Okay. No underlining threats at all. Okay. What you do is just say, hey, look, I'm here for you. You can do this. You already know what to do. Look, you made it to this level. Okay. The process is the same to go to the next level. Don't be afraid of it. Having the decision to leave your job, and I understand the security aspect. That's all you've ever known. And I totally get that. I said, but I'll tell them, say, look, you don't know what's on the other side. And it's the same process that you're doing right now. So why would you stop? Oh, hold on. I don't know what's going on there. Hold on.
We've got all sorts of excitement going on over there. The bells and whistles are going off.
It's the doctor's call.
So what I'm hearing is the key with these growing leaders who are growing into a large income that's potentially going to replace their job income is that you have to be a little bit more instructional, providing a little bit more guidance than you would to your actual leaders who know what's what, and they're kind of on their way on their own.
Yeah. And then what happens is, like I said, they get confused. There's a lot of confusion because there's so many emotions, and everybody likes comfort zones, and they're used to making that money in their job. The thought of going in, because it's one thing to say, yeah, man, I'm going to build this network marketing business, I'm going to build it big and this and that. And then when you really get to that threshold moment where you got to make that decision from part-time to full-time, it scares a lot of people. Now, there's some that'll blow right through it, but not very many. Those are your true superstars where they just, okay. But the vast majority of other people are going to need a little prodding. And you got to say, look, I've been there. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're feeling. I know exactly how tough this decision can be, but only you can make it. I'm going to support you in whatever you choose to do, okay? Because you're doing a great job. But just understand, the only thing that's missing is, as you know, this business is all about finding and working with leaders, okay? It's meaning that you're going to continue the same 5 simple steps that you use to get to this 3,000 to 5,000 month level. Guess what? The only difference between 5 and 10,000 is the number of leaders in your business. So you already know how to build the process. You know how to find the leaders. You've proven you can work with the leaders, but you're going to have to understand that if you want to take full advantage of this opportunity, you just got to keep doing what you're doing and let the chips fall where they may. And what a great decision to have to make. If you're making so much money that you have to have that discussion with your spouse, that's a great position to be in. And but I always tell them, I said, look, before you can even think about doing that, you got to use that $3,000 to $5,000 a month to pay off as much debt as you can, because right now it's premature to make that decision without having that money saved up and having the debt paid off as much as you can with that money. And you know what that does, Miss Marie? It shows them that you care about them, that you care about their the sound financial foundation they're putting under them and their family, and they respect that, okay? Because they see that you're not all about the money, you're not all about the numbers, that you do in fact care about them and their family and how important this decision is. So what am I doing? I'm loving them and leaving them. I'm loving them for what they've accomplished, and I'm telling them what the clear path is. The same 5 simple steps. There's nothing different. All you're missing is the number of leaders in your business to go to the 10,000 a month level. You can do it. You've already done it. Okay, but I'm going to support you in whatever you choose to do. I'm not going to be upset if you choose to stay where you are. That you're at an awesome place, and that's great. I'll be there for you. I will continue to support you. And what am I doing? Once again, I'm loving and leaving them, and I'm giving them supportive words. And then, because it's one thing to say something, it's another thing to actually back it up. How am I backing it up? Saying, well, look, we should not even be having this discussion unless you've already paid off as much debt as you have. You need to let me know that you've done that. I don't want to see your documents, but I got to trust you that you're going to tell me, have you paid off as much personal debt as you can? Have you got money saved up? Okay, because your family's future, they want that security, and guess what? They have a right to that security, and you got to build this business right. And I want to make sure that you are taking care of those things, because I care about you and your success and how you're going to put this business together. I want you to do it the right way. Ms. Murray, that is so powerful in getting them to go to the next level. Because when they hang up the phone and they talk with their spouse, he said, we should pay off all our debt and have 3 months of money saved up. And I think that's a sound approach. He didn't talk anything about me becoming a diamond or becoming an emerald. He didn't say anything about that. He just said, look, let's focus in on what's really good here. And that is helping your family be in a better financial spot. And that goes a long way in getting them from a part-time to a full-time. Number one, you showed them a clear path, the same 5 simple steps. And number 2, hey, let's make sure that you got your finances lined up before you go down that path. You see what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely. So in terms of effective communication, if I were to summarize it, and please correct me if I'm missing anything here, in the recruiting process, you want to make sure you've got a good music to the ears message that you're communicating to your potential prospects. And then once you have the leaders in your organization, you're essentially leading by example and using that 5 simple steps, communicating that throughout your organization consistently to help people grow their business. And of course, I think it's always important that, there's personal communication between you and your leaders happening, that you understand their preferred mode of communication, that you can show that you're actually invested in them and their personal well-being and success. Is that fair to say?
That's correct. Yes. I let them pick the timetable, the method of the contact, et cetera, et cetera. And that is the leaders, the ones that are doing exactly what you're doing. The part-timers, you acknowledge what they've accomplished. You let them know the clear path to the next level, but you also let them know that it's imperative, and it shows that you care about them, that it's imperative that they pay off as much debt as they can, and that that they have as much money saved up as they can over 3 months of emergency fund. And once again, that shows them that you care about them, and it also shows them, hey, here's where the next step is, and here's how you get there. And there again, you're loving them and you're leaving them, because any discussion outside of that, Miss Marie, you almost come across as horsewhipping them. There's no other effective communication you can have with a transitional person. And yeah, you nailed it with the prospecting process, music to their ears. That's all there is to it. And all of that represents effective communication. And then the last step is when you become a legendary figure. You become the figurehead of your organization instead of the business builder. And that's a totally different type of communication, which we don't want to get into here because that's an advanced tactic. But it's a totally different. And you say, well, and it's really the most important. You say, well, how can that be? Well, because if you're going to keep your business together, if you're going to keep it stable, and you want to keep people in your business, you better be a great legendary figure. You better be a great figurehead. Okay. And there's a way to make that happen. And we're not going to get into that here because it's not the purpose. We're focusing in on the new people and the retreads at this moment. But yes, Miss Marie, in summarization, that's exactly right. And hopefully I didn't override what you had summarized.
Nope, I think that's absolutely fantastic. And again, this is the value of the information we provide that you're not necessarily going to hear anywhere else. So as always, please like, comment, and share on our various social media platforms. You can find us by searching hashtag the MLM Solution. That's hashtag the MLM Solution. And of course, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on that bell for notifications. You'll know when we have some new material available for you. And of course, give us a thumbs up. If you like what you hear, you understand the points that we're making. We love getting that feedback. We love knowing that we're providing information of value to you. And of course, feel free to comment. You have a question or there's a topic you want to hear more about, let us know and we will do our best to accommodate that. And then finally, be sure to check us out on our webpage, themlmsolution.net. That's themlmsolution.net. You think you're getting great value here on this podcast? Let me tell you, there's a tremendous amount of information available on that website, much of it free for you to download. So strongly recommend you go check that out and take advantage of that information.
There you go. Well done. Well done. All right, guys, that's it for today. Hope that you guys got some value out of it. Please share our podcast, as she stated, with everybody across the globe. Let's empower them to do great things with this business model as well, sooner rather than later. We provide all the information you need to build a business in today's virus environment and additionally in today's technological environment. Once again, not getting that information anyplace else. And you know what, guys, as we close and get ready for tomorrow, look, you are an independent business builder. You are an entrepreneur. You're not a network marketer. To that end, understand that you are going to get information here that you're not going to get anyplace else, period. We address the things that are real issues in this business model, things that you can utilize right away to make a difference in your life. And we also share how to get from point A, where you are now, to point B, where you want to go, quicker than anybody else. And so I would want to make sure that you guys understand what you have a hold of here. So with that being said, Miss Marie, tomorrow, what is our subject matter for tomorrow? I've had it right here.
Don't ever give up.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. All right. With that being said, guys, we're going to hop off of here. Join us tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always, so that you can learn how to never give up. And yeah, that is a short term. That's self-explanatory. But we're going to talk about what will cause you to quit in this business. And so we're going to tie those scenarios to the don't ever give up statement. Okay. So with that being said, Miss Marie, tomorrow, 11 a.m. Bye-bye, everybody. And take care of yourself, Miss Marie.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, themlmsolution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.